Hi, Vicky. Hi, Kerry. Hi, Lisa White. Long time no see. Jenny and Edith. Anyway, thank you all for coming along tonight. We are expecting a few more people, but they'll just have to join us. Otherwise, we'll all be sitting around twiddling our thumbs. So welcome. It is Allergy Awareness Week. And as we go through, you know, we've got a few tips and hints and things, but if you are dealing with something, you know, whether it's gluten-free or it's dairy-free or whatever, please feel free to, you know, chip in and give us your opinions and what you'd like to, what you can share with us too, because it's all about sharing and, you know, yeah, sharing with everybody. So if you've got things you can share, feel free. We do have the chat box, and at some point we will actually stop and, you know, if you guys want to talk, then you can hop on and talk. All right, so if you don't know me, my name's Mandy. I am the team leader of our multicultural mixers who are presenting for you tonight. And we are very happy to be here. On that, we are looking for team members. So if you want to learn more about your Thermomix, this is a really good way to do it. We've all, you know, we brainstorm, we learn from each other. We've all got our strengths, and so it's a really good way to learn about your Thermomix. So we would love to, you know, if that's something that you're a bit curious about, doesn't commit you in any way, just please talk to your consultant, and we can take it from there. We're also looking for guest presenters, and we do have someone guesting on our next class. So if that's something that you're interested in doing as well, we would love to have you. All right, before we start, I just put a few slides together just with a few ideas. Actually, before we start, in the chat, can you pop in the chat if you are here because you are, you know, you are celiac, you have gluten intolerance, you are dairy-free, vegan, whatever it is. And it doesn't matter if you're none of those, but if you are, if you could just pop in the chat, be really good to know. Whilst you're doing that, I'm going to just share a few slides that I prepared this morning, actually, before I went to work. Okay. So just having a quick little look at, it's always difficult when Zoom puts all its controls where you can't see things. All right, so just having a quick little look at a few ideas here. And I know there are plenty of other ideas, and we have lots of ideas on cookie dough as well. But just anybody who is dairy-free, there are a few little ideas about how you can substitute. We do have cashew cheeses, and I think there's a macadamia cheese on cookie dough. We also, I'm probably well aware if you're not eating dairy, that nutritional yeast is a really good substitute in things to give you that cheesy taste. Avocado is obviously great and a really good fat for you, healthy fat. Coconut butter, almond butter, tahini. With the ice cream, I don't know if you ever made the frozen banana ice cream, but it is just amazing. It's just banana, blitz it up, pop your butterfly in, and away you go. So it's a really delicious option, and you can obviously change that up, add bits and pieces to it. Cream, yeah, the cashew cream recipe on cookie dough. We've got coconut milk, coconut cream. With the yogurts, there's definitely, you know, I've made the coconut yogurt several times. I haven't tried the other two, but I know the coconut yogurt is really good. And of course, they're different milks, and I am going to make an almond milk tonight. So that's dairy ideas. When it comes to eggs, because I know they're, you know, this is another area that some people, particularly if you're vegan, you might not want to miss out on everything. So here are some other things, and I will take screenshots of these, and I will add them into the email that I send you tomorrow. Okay. So yeah, peanut butter. So flaxseed and chia seed are probably the things that I would use more often than anything else. But you know, you can, if you just trying to avoid all sorts of grains or whatever, then bananas and apple sauce are really good options as well. Gluten-free and grain-free flour, gluten-free and grain-free flour alternatives. Just try and do that quickly. Almond flour is my go-to. Use a lot of that. Cassava flour I've never used. Coconut flour is good, but you need to be aware that it does absorb a lot of liquid. Tiger nut flour. Now, tiger nuts come from, I've never seen that, but I have heard of it because tiger nuts are used in our in one of the curries that we have. And what they say is a substitute is macadamia nuts, which doesn't help you if you're nut-free, but it would help you if you're grain-free. And green banana flour, which you can actually purchase in the supermarket. Fodmaps. So I don't know if anybody's Fodmaps, but it does usually the things that people need to avoid are garlic and onion. And again, this is what I've just learned from being a consultant, that garlic infused oil is often acceptable. You would always need to check with the person that you are feeding what they can and what they can't have. But these are some really good things. It's the green, not the white, of the onions and the leeks and the chives. Or chives don't have any white, but yeah, they're good options. And I have no idea how to pronounce that thing at the top left-hand side, so I'm not even going to try. All right, and these are just some of the things that you can generally have on a low FODMAP diet. So again, I will pop these into the email I'm going to send you tomorrow. So that's just a little starting point. And what we're going to do now, we have the lovely Helen helping me tonight because Boone's away with her family in Singapore. And we're going to move over to Irene, please, Helen.
Hi guys. So I'm not in my usual spot. I'm actually in Mum's laundry. Very specific reason for that. I'm actually making the gluten-free Worcestershire sauce. Now in the Worcestershire sauce, so that's, oh, that come through? Can you see that? Yep. Oh no, you know what? I'll do that. There we go. The gluten-free Worcestershire sauce. So it's really quite pungent in terms of the smell. So if I don't do this, I think Mum's going to throw me out of the house. So bear with me. So in here, and it's actually quite pungent already. There's vinegar, there's apple cider vinegar, along with all these other ingredients, which are really quite, they're going to be quite pungent. To that, I'm also adding garlic and onion. If you are allergic to garlic and onion, there is a product you can get, and I was just finding it. So it's called Asafoetida. So hopefully that's big so that everyone can read it. It's essentially a herb, it's a root vegetable that gives you the flavors of onion and garlic, but without giving you the indigestion. It's used a lot in Indian cooking, and it's used a lot with cultures where they like to meditate, because they'd say onion and garlic can really upset the gut and the ability to, I guess, think clearly. So Asafoetida is what they use. Now, when you buy Asafoetida, just be really mindful. And I don't know whether I should say this because you can probably, I don't know, I won't say it. It smells really, really strong. So I actually store it in a double container. I won't tell you exactly what it smells like, but once you smell it, you'll be like, oh my God, I can't possibly put that in my cooking. But I promise you the flavors you have to cook it out just like you would with onion and garlic, but it's giving you the same flavors and aromas as your onion and garlic without giving you all those side effects. But we don't have any of those issues here. So I'm in the laundry. I'm going to start cooking this, and then I'm going to move the computer back inside. I'm going to close the door because if you actually read the recipe, it says that it creates fumes that are quite intense. So hence we're doing this outside so I can get the air happening. But let's start cooking. So in here is going my onion along with my garlic. We're going to chop those. So about, it's one small onion, 2 cloves of garlic. We're chopping those for 5 seconds on speed 7. We're going to simply scrape that down. So nice and chopped. Just scrape it down, and then we're literally going to cook with all of the other ingredients for half an hour, and I'll do that, leave that in the laundry, and I'll go back inside. But essentially in my over here we have apple cider vinegar, we've got golden syrup, molasses, tamari, and then in my spices, let's get my golden syrup out.
Glad to see you got a nice clean mop in your laundry, Irene.
Yeah, it is a clean one. In my spices. I love Mum actually washes it and hangs it upside down, so it's nice and clean. Allspice, we've got ground cloves, some cayenne pepper and some sea salt. So this is a vegan sauce, so really good if you are on a vegan diet. Just to help spice things up, this is a really good way just to add a splash. It's a bit like fish sauce. It adds that umami-ness that you need sometimes in some dishes, just to take them to another level. So this needs a simmering basket, which I'll go and grab. And essentially, I'm going to cook that for the 30 minutes. At the end of that, I'm actually not taking this inside the house. Like I said earlier, I think Mum will throw me out if those smells start to fill up the house, particularly when I'm going to go to bed. So I'm going to let that cool down outside, and then I'm going to bottle it. But we'll talk about sterilising the jars and how you can extend the shelf life of this. So over to you, Mandy.
Thanks, Irene. That's fantastic. And you know, it's really funny. You just have to make things work sometimes. And I know Irene's mum doesn't like lots of smells in her kitchen. So good on you, Irene. Thanks for doing that. All right. So what I'm going to make almond milk. First of all, because I need to get them in the oven, I'm going to show you some almond pulp crackers. So these are gluten-free and they are dairy-free. Oh, no, it's not true. They're not dairy-free. They have Parmesan in them, but I'm going to make them afterwards. But I need to make some more pulp because I used up all the pulp that I had in the freezer. So that's what you can do if you're making, you know, almond milk. And I'll show you the recipe a little bit further on. But what I just do is I just save up the pulp until I've got enough to do something with it. I also made some chocolate biscuits with it today as well. So I'll show you those as well. Okay, so what I've done the first few parts of the to make the mixture, and I realized when I was reading it again tonight that I did something wrong. And if you didn't want to be dairy free, then what you could do is add the nutritional yeast instead of the Parmesan. Okay, so we'll have a look down here. I've got it rolled out. So this is my dough. I had to make it. I had to pop it in the fridge. And then I had to roll it out. And what I've done wrong is I thought that it was going to chop up the rosemary in there. You can't really see that very well, but I have modified the recipe. I was meant to chop up the rosemary before it went in the bowl. Well, I never do that because the Thermomix does it for me, but I've worked out how to get around that one, and I'll tell you that little trick. Whenever you're rolling out something that is gluten-free, it's a really good idea to do it between. This is a compostable baking paper, and I will be reusing this. So I reuse it as many times as I possibly can, as long as it's clean. If it's fish or meat that's been on it, well, no. But this is perfectly fine. And I've got it sitting on one of our baking mats, and I've just rolled out in between. It's too sticky otherwise. And what I'm going to try, and I haven't used this one before, but I don't know if you've noticed, but in the mix shop, we have a 20% off Click Frenzy sale until 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Oh, Irene's going to tell you a bit more about that. But I've already had this cracker roller, but I'm going to try this one as well. So all I'm going to do is roll out my crackers. I'm just going to do, and we'll see. Oh, it's quite soft. Okay, so I'm losing a bit there. I'm going to see if this one's any better with this dough. Yeah, I'm just being a bit lighter, and you'll see very, very, very soft. So what I would actually suggest, can you see I've got some coming off here on my roller. So if you look up here, I've got a few holes. So maybe this would be a good one. What it actually says in the recipe is just to cut with a knife. I can't do that on this mat because it's silicone. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put these in as I've done them now. If you were going to cut with a knife, you need to have your paper underneath. And then what you just do after that is we're just going to pick the whole lot up, and I'm going to pop it onto a tray. So you can see with plenty of other recipes, gluten-free recipes, where I have used the cracker roller really well. And I will find some of those and pop them in the chat when I'm not doing the talking. There's some falafel crackers, actually, Helen, if you can find them at all. But this, yeah, the crackers look really good when it's not quite as soft as this. This is very soft. So I'm going to pop it on a tray. And I'm going to pop it. So they're just on the tray, going to go in the oven. And I really love it if because I'm doing lots of talking, if someone would be able to time 15 minutes for me, I'd be very grateful. Thanks.
I'll do that, Maggie.
All right, so get rid of that. And now I'm actually going to make the almond milk. So when you're making almond milk, what you need to do is soak your almonds. Now, some people will use blanched almonds. This is how I buy my almonds all the time. And just quietly, we have discovered some people have been, if you want to blanch your almonds, you can wet them. You can put them actually with the blade cover peeler in the bottom of your Thermomix and some water, and apparently it will take the outsides off for you. That doesn't worry me. But what you do need to soak them so that you get a lot of the phytates out, and the phytates are things that makes it less digestible. So they've been soaking in water. It does say 24 hours, but I forgot to do it last night. So they've been in there since about 8 o'clock this morning. So they've had 12 hours. And I have been known to make emergency almond milk when my vegan sister-in-law came down from Cairns and I hadn't got any milk for her, by pouring hot water over for 10 minutes and then making it. It still worked. But what I'm going to do now is just drain this water. I think in the recipe it actually says just put the whole lot into the Thermomix. However, my thoughts are, if you're soaking them to get rid of the phytates, then you don't want to put them in the water that you've got the phytates have gone into. So I'm just going to drain them. I just drain them through my simmering basket. All right, and there is a recipe for almond milk. I make this every week, so I don't really need it, but in the recipe, I will find it for you. But,
it's okay, Mandy. I'll show them the one from the new book. So,
okay. Well, with this one, basically, there are things in here which I never add. So it's 220 grams of almonds and 660 grams of water after you soak them. And it also says pitted dates. If you want to sweeten it, you can. I don't think you need to. It's actually really delicious without. And it also says vanilla essence, and I don't use that either. So I'm literally just going to pop these drained nuts. I will put this, will go into the recipe. So I'm not doing the dates. I'm not doing the vanilla extract. See, it says almonds and soaking water. I don't do that. So I'm just going to pop my almonds in. And it's not giving me scales, but I know I need about 660 grams of water. So the little trick in here is to hit the 3 little dots there and bring up your scales. And then I'm going to pop the water in here. I usually guesstimate, I have to say, but I'll do it properly for you guys. You just get that little, it's too slow. Okay, that'll do. All right, and then what I'm going to do is literally pop the measuring cup on, and it's going to blitz for 2 minutes. And in that time, I'm going to mute myself because you won't be able to hear anything anyway. And we're going to go to wiring.
hi guys. This is much nicer sitting in this warmth rather than outside in that freezing cold. So this is our, anyone who's buying a Thermomix through the end of this month gets basically their hands on our new cookbook, which is obviously based on food waste and, doing more with, the food that you've got. You're also getting the kitchen toolkit. I'm sure you've all seen before, but in the kitchen toolkit is our ice cream scoop, followed by, I'll take this one. This is a new set. So I've got two small knives. I've got a larger butter knife. I've also got a peeler and some kitchen scissors, all made from Soligen grade same steel. So the same steel that's made from your, made with your blade in your Thermomix. So they're using exactly the same quality still in these. So they are a gift with purchase for anyone that buys before the end of the month. Now, I want to go back to the book though. So Mandy was talking about the almond milk, which is fantastic. When you are making the almond milk, there's so much you can do with the leftovers. So we go from making almond milk, so in that recipe, so that goes through from making the almond milk, you're then moving on to making things like the pancakes from the nuts that are left over. What you can also make are things like almond milk powder. So, you know, we're trying to do more with the ingredients that we've got. The freezer is your friend, so you need freezer space. So I always say to everyone who buys a Thermomix, get a bigger freezer because you're going to fill it up with lots of goodies and things that you're not, you know, so you're not throwing things out. Mandy mentioned earlier the mix shop. So I'm just going to see if I can share my screen. Mandy, 1 second. Or do we want to show this later? She probably can't hear me. Let's see if I can do this. Maybe not, because it's all changed. No, we'll do it later. I'll find how we connect the, we'll do the mix shop. So there's 20% off the mix shop at the moment. So if you're after an extra bowl and blade set for your TM6, for instance, it's down to $300. You're saving $75 off a full price bowl. It's always great having a second jug. I find it handy to move from dish to dish. You may have one in the dishwasher. You're ready to go with the next one. I think Mandy's ready to go. You ready?
I am.
Beautiful.
Thank you. All right, so it is a noisy thing for 2 minutes, but then what you do, you need to have a nut milk bag. They do have these in the mix shop too. And a little tip I learned from another consultant quite a few years ago, but a really good one, and that's what I mean when you say you learn so much, is with your nut milk bag, really good idea is to put it so that your seams are on the outside. So you know how when we wear, well, our clothes and everything, we're all this way around with the seams, you don't see the seams. But with the nut milk bag, really good idea to put it inside out, so to speak, so that your seams are on the outside. Just means it's easier to clean. So all I do is put it over a bowl, which I've got here, and I just pour the mixture in. Ooh, looking good. Scrape that out, remembering when you scrape, always push down to the bottom and then scrape it out in a clockwise direction. So if you're wondering about my voice, it's actually improving, I think. But I was lucky enough to go on a Thermomix leadership conference last week in Sydney, and it's a bit of a party on the Thursday night on a boat with a bit of singing and dancing, and that's what happened to my voice. Anyway, all right. But that's one of the other things, you know, there's all sorts of things you can do when you become a consultant and get to go to these things. All right, so then I just bring it up and it's just squeezing the milk out. Okay, so this is quite full for my bowl here, but that's all right. It's the bowl I normally use. So just squeeze them out. Start with. So pop in the chat if you make your own milk, whether it's almond milk. With a cashew milk, you don't actually need to put it through a nut milk bag. It blends up enough that you don't have to do that. But I'd love to know if anybody else does. Okay. Oh, those biscuits smell good. Am I up for 15 minutes yet?
Not quite, Mandy. You've still a little bit to go.
Okay.
So Edith's just asking, instead of using, if you don't have any of the pulp, so let's say you're not making the almond milk, the crackers, would you just use an ordinary flour?
Well,
I guess you're not, because
not to have to do that. You know, I would look for some other crackers. But if you use almond meal, you would need to add more moisture. So because it's a moist consistency. And, you know, you can, having said that, you can actually dry out your almond pulp in the oven, and you can just, you know, blitz it up in your Thermi. But I actually tried to I contacted a couple of people who I thought would know, you know, a general rule about, sorry, I'm just going to check that they smell really good, those biscuits. Oh, yeah.
You're only at about 9.5 minutes, Mandy.
They need to come out though.
Oh, okay.
Must have a hot oven. I'm going to flip them in a minute, but I'll finish off the nut milk first.
Sure.
And then back the other side. Okay. Yeah, so I actually, I don't know if you know of Jo Whitten, Quirky Cooking. She does a lot of dairy-free, she's very, very big on gut health. So I messaged in her chat group and she had no general rule for the substituting almond pulp with almond meal, and also Fiona Hoskin for FionaHoskin.com, and she had no general rule either. But but basically it's a lot wetter than almond.
So the way around that, Mandy, is to soak it. So if you've got something, and I often do this with coconut. So if you want to, if your recipe calls for fresh coconut, or freshly grated coconut, and you don't have any, you can actually buy dehydrated and just soak it in some water. If you want to rush the process, soak it in some boiling water. So that just helps to rehydrate it. It's obviously better to do it in cold. Well, that's right to the top. That looks amazing, Mandy. So you can do that, and you can probably do that with the almond dried almond. So just soak it just to give you the same consistency.
Thank you, Irene. So what I will do is this will go in the fridge. It says it only lasts for about 3 or 4 days, but honestly it lasts longer than that. You just got to smell and taste, but definitely lasts for longer than that in this house. And I use it in a really nice porridge, which is called quick porridge, and it takes 4 minutes. I use it in there, and I actually find that the bowl cleans better with almond milk, using almond milk in the porridge, than it does with dairy. So sometimes we've got a little bit of dairy milk left in the fridge, which our daughter has when she comes to stay, then I use that, but it's harder to clean the bowl than it is with this. So with this, I just put it on the porridge on a browning, clean afterwards, and it does it pretty well. So that's the milk, and now I'm just going to go on and go and find those crackers that I was making. So if you're in the middle of a recipe, I don't know where you can see this.
Mandy?
Yeah.
Kerry would like to know, do you use the nut milk bag when making oat milk?
I've never made oat milk, but I would think you probably would, because it's just, because it's just different. I don't quite know how to explain it. I don't know. Irene, have you got any thoughts on that? But that's
I've never made it, but I can't.
No, neither have I.
I think it would just be soaked the same, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it just be soaked longer?
Yeah, but just do we need, so with the cashew milk, we don't need a nut milk bag. It blends well enough. I think you just have to try it and see what you thought.
Yeah, I guess.
Sorry.
I understand what you're saying, as long as it's smooth enough. Yeah, that's true.
Exactly. All right, now you can see this. So I want to get out of this recipe. To do that, I can just hit these 3 dots here, and I can go cancel recipe. Yes, I want to cancel the recipe. I'm going to come back into my week, and I'm going to find the rosemary and almond parmesan crackers. Put a dry bowl on, that'd be helpful. All right, start cooking. So in the list of ingredients, which again I can see from here, recipe detail, come down here, it actually said, this is what I missed when I was making this morning, 2 sprigs of fresh rosemary, finely chopped. So I didn't do that. That's why it's a little bit chunky, mine. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the rosemary in with the Parmesan cheese. So I've got it there, my Parmesan. Dry measuring cup. Popping my measuring cup on, 8 seconds on speed 8. Okay, So you can see that my rosemary is much better chopped than it was before. Now it says transfer to a bowl and set aside, but having made these before today, I have to put 20 grams of it back in again. So I'm just going to take a little bit of it out, not the whole lot. There we go. All right. And then I'm going to add 180 to 200 grams of my almond pulp, which is in here. Hopefully I've got enough.
So Kerry, just while Mandy's doing that, I've just Googled oat milk, and no, you just need a high-speed blender and you need to soak them for 30 minutes and then you just blend them and you've got your oat milk. So good to go.
And there is an oat milk recipe on Cookie Do too.
So no straining, which is great.
Yeah. All right, so ground flax seeds, I only had full ones, so I've just ground those when I made things this morning, the mixture this morning. 1 teaspoon of bicarb. 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. I've just got garlic flakes. So again, little jar I keep reusing, put my own little label on it, right, a bit of zero waste happening as always. Which of course it's zero wasting using the almond meal, almond pulp. Sorry, I've got to think about where the salt and pepper is. All right. Salt. Pepper. All right. Pop the lid back on again. And 10 seconds on speed 4. Okay, so this is an interesting one. So there's a couple of stages of this. So it says without the measuring cup, and then you go next, and it's asking you to put it on for a minute, and then meanwhile follow the next step. So I've taken the measuring cup out. Just move you back a little bit so you can see the whole thing. And I'm going to put it on for a minute. And it's asking me to slowly add 2 tablespoons of olive oil through the lid. Actually stopping it there because what I forgot to do is scrape down the sides. You can see. Push that down, pop it on for a bit longer. So it's just looking like a bit like a crumble at the moment. Look through the top. And after that, it's going to be adding a little bit of water. And that's a bit of a gauge. You just gauge how much it needs to come together as a bit of a dough. So I've got to click next, scrape down the sides. Yeah. Okay. Without the measuring cup, next. 1 to 2 to 3 tablespoons of water. I found 2 was enough this morning, so I'm just going to see how that goes. I'll get a little bit more. I'm just having a preview, so 6 seconds left. And then it just says transfer the dough into a bowl and put it in the fridge, okay, for 30 minutes. So that's pretty much where we started, with me bringing that dough out and making the crackers. So what I'm going to do now is just show you a little bit on cookie dough. Move out the way. Move away from the mess over there. The oil and the water that I might get my mess in. Okay. All right, so on cookie dough, the best way to, you can actually just go in here, you can go dairy free. And it's going to give us a whole lot of recipes. My filters, I have the United States, United Kingdom, and Australia, so I will get some double ups. But you've got things like this, a dairy-free bechamel sauce. So it's just, they're using rice milk. Basically, you could use any type of dairy-free milk that you wanted, a dairy-free spread as well in that. So you can absolutely look like that and just, oh, dairy-free mango ice cream, that looks really good. Coconut caramel ice cream, yum. So there's a whole lot of options there. There is also, if we go into collections, there are some dairy-free, that one probably is not all dairy-free, but you've got alternative milks, dairy-free things there. And if I take out dairy-free and just go vegan, we've got other vegan recipes there. And this is a fantastic book, Plant to Plate. That has 120 recipes in it. And that's where you've got your cashew cream. You've got a vegan gravy. We've got different cheeses, like a plant-based Parmesan cheese. And I've never made this stretchy, melty cheese because I haven't had to. But I do know when that first came out, one of the girls that was in the team at that point in time did make that and said it actually worked really well. And we've got hemp milk, oat milk. Here we go. So it says, it just says strain. Oh, it does say, this one does actually use a nut milk bag. But obviously you can just have a play around with it. And as long as it's smooth enough and you're comfortable with the texture, that's the main thing. We've got hemp milk as well, coconut yogurt, vanilla cashew yogurt, and so on. So there's lots and lots of great recipes that are vegan, dairy-free in there as well. If we go gluten-free, we've got a whole heap of things. So we've got, you know, different bakings, gluten-free Christmas, Good Food Gluten-Free, which is a book that is an Australian book with a whole lot of, in this one, it actually, it's got it there. Where is it? That you can actually make your own gluten-free flour. Yeah, here we go. Gluten-free flour mix, self-raising flour, etc. So I think the thing is with both of these, if we're looking at dairy-free and gluten-free, if you are used to it yourself, you know how to make these adaptations. But if you're actually cooking for someone else, I know I've eaten gluten-free for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, but probably a bit more than that now, actually. But you know, beforehand, when I had a friend round who was, you know, gluten-free, I'm going, oh my goodness, I had no idea what to cook them. But it is actually really easy to do, you know, once you eat that way. So, you know, an easy thing, instead of pasta, you do zoodles, or, you know, there's plenty of gluten-free pastas and things out there that you can buy anyway, but we usually do zoodles. So there is a lot of different collections and things in here. This one's allergy friendly. This is, I think this is in the UK, this one. Again, you know, we've got, it's a UK one. So that's, you know, again, using vegetables instead of pasta, all sorts of different things there. The other way you can do it is if we go back into recipes, you can go, all right, we'll go into our filters here, and we might want, I never actually put in gluten-free for pasta and rice dishes because it's going to take all the pasta dishes out, and there might be sauces in there that you could still eat if you change the pasta. All right, so some of the filters will remove a lot of things. But if we go, let's go down here. Let's go main dishes fish. Okay, Then the other filter we can go down here and we can tag. So we could go dairy free, click on there, and that's going to filter out all the recipes that had dairy in them. Again, if you're happy with substituting, then and you know how to substitute, it's easy. That was our gluten-free one anyway. All right. So does that sort of make sense? Does anybody have any particular questions about that? Or it's pretty easy, just using your filters on cookie dough. Okay. All right. Now I think we're over to Wendy, please. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Now, before I start, I do have two little dogs that are trying to get my attention, so may get a little bit interesting, but we'll give it a start. So tonight I'm making a vegan mayonnaise. There are a couple of recipes on Cookie Dough. I'm choosing the one that had soy milk in there as opposed to the tofu. Very easy, quick steps, and it will make a jar that will last in the fridge for, I think, about up to 14 days. It didn't really say too much on that, but I'll have another look at the tips as we're going along. So let's start. So I've pre-weighed all the ingredients already. So it was 250 grams of sunflower oil. And you set the jug aside. 150 grams of soya milk unsweetened. Pour that in. And 25 grams of lemon juice. Again, I just made freshly squeezed a lemon that I used the zest for in another recipe a few days ago. We're just going to put on the lid 10 seconds, and I've lost my lid. Where have I put it? Okay, bear with me. Hiding behind the computer. There we go. And for 2.5 in speed. It's just mixing up the lemon juice and the milk. And it says with measuring cup still in place, we're going to turn the speed to speed 5, and it's going to cook for 3.5 minutes. Now there. I'm going to leave the measuring cup in, and we're just going to slowly pour in the oil. And this will just let it emulsify into the milk. So it's draining into the mixture.
Just whilst Wendy's doing that, if you're making like a normal in inverted commas mayonnaise, not a vegan one, it's exactly how you would do it. It doesn't you don't drizzle it in for as long. But the cooked mayo on cookie dough, if you don't have to worry about dairy and egg, is absolutely sensational, and no fail. She says, touch wood, never fail for me. And again, by drizzling in through the lid there as Wendy's doing it, that's what emulsifies your mayonnaise. It's also a little trick you can do. Oh, she's doing such a great job, isn't she? Just you can hardly see the little line of it going in. But just you can also emulsify smoothies. So if you know how when you make a smoothie after a little while it separates. So what you can do instead is put most of your ingredients in the bowl with a little bit of liquid, and then slowly drizzle in the rest of the liquid. It will emulsify your smoothie, so it won't separate.
We should quiz. Let's see if everyone's paying attention. Does anyone know what you need to do if your mayo splits? How to fix it? Reply in the chat box. Let's see if anyone's got any ideas. Or it's very silent. I guess that's a no. You basically add more mustard. So it needs more acid. So you can either add some vinegar or some mustard. So that'll help bring it back together. So if your mayo ever splits, don't ever throw it out. Just add a little bit more mustard.
So with that, Irene, you just put the mustard in and mix, or do you put the, do you have to, go on?
No, it's just put some mustard in it or some vinegar and just whiz it up again and it'll emulsify.
Fantastic.
She's done a great job.
She has. I can't believe I would have had it all in there about 2 minutes ago, I reckon.
I actually pour my whole lot right on top and basically just give it the time it needs to go through the side gap.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just magically comes together.
Yeah. So sometimes you just need to use your spatula just to push in the last little bits.
Yeah, just off the lid. So I take, yep.
Oh, as Wendy's doing.
So Mandy, I tried to click on the to share the screen for the mix shop, but it's actually not working on my computer for some reason.
Oh, okay.
You might show everyone.
Yeah,
you know,
I'll just get it up.
Show them the cracker rollers and the gorgeous spatula that Wendy's using.
Okay, now scrape down the sides. Ooh. I haven't made this one before. I'm just going to show you.
Oh, looks amazing.
Looks great.
Oh, yeah, you need to do a taste test, Wendy.
It's not, I've got a couple more ingredients yet to go in there.
Oh, okay.
I actually haven't tasted vegan mayonnaise before. Has anyone else? Anyone had any?
I think everyone's shaking their head. That's a no.
Someone did ask those that's similar to the cooked mayonnaise. Is the taste similar to the cooked mayonnaise?
I will tell you when I have tasted it all at the end. So now it just wants a teaspoon of fine sea salt and 1 teaspoon of mustard to taste. I'm just using normal English mustard. It's not too hot. Not the hot version. And 1/2 to 3/4 teaspoon of agave syrup. Now, I didn't have any of this, but Irene said I could use some honey. So how much do you think, Irene? Just 1/2 teaspoon?
Oh, yeah, half. Go less. It's probably a little bit stronger in flavour than the agave. You can find agave at Woolies near where all your sugars are. So usually on the top shelf of your coconut syrups, you'll find the agave syrup. You don't have to use it. You can just use, I guess, another sweetener.
Yeah.
You could also use, if you don't want to use sugar, some of that 0 calorie stuff.
Yeah, is it the monk fruit?
Yeah, the monk fruit. Yeah, monk fruit. I think this will give it a nice flavour though. I think it'll give it a little bit of something to.
And 2 to 3 pinches of ground white pepper, which I've already put in with the salt. And then it wants the lid to go back on. And it's just going to mix all those in for 15 seconds on speed 3. Now, it does say it makes 1 jar. So I've got, with my recycling, I've got one of these large jam jars. Now, if anyone ever needs any jars, my neighbour, her daughter's a baker, and she often goes through quite a bit of jam. I have tried getting her to have a Thermomix, but we're not quite there yet. So if anyone wants any jars, I've got heaps of these to share around. I also use a smaller one for my daughter to take to work, because she's actually lactose free, and just the yogurt jars from the mix shop. They're good as well, just for a smaller portion. Now I think that's it all done. Check seasoning and then transfer into an airtight jar and seal. The one good thing about the Thermomix jars is the silicone lid, so there's no, they don't rust over time or anything. They fit quite nicely as well in the fridge. Now, I'm not sure, it's quite a runny mixture, but we'll have a little taste. It's actually okay. Probably tastes a little bit more vinegary than the cooked mayonnaise, but it's actually quite nice. This one seems to be a little bit more runnier though in consistency. So what, I'm not sure why that happened or whether it'll firm up once it's in the fridge.
Well, that's something I guess you can report back on.
Yes, but I'm also going to make the other recipe as well. I did get the tofu and I had all the other ingredients, and that actually has a nutritional yeast in that one. So it'd be quite an interesting flavour, I think, to have a go and compare the two. So I will be doing that later. I'll let you know how.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Wendy. That's wonderful.
It'll be more cheesy with the savoury yeast. Yeah, it's great.
All right, if you want to come back to me, Helen, please. A couple of things. I forgot to mention this before. This is so a few weeks ago, probably about a month ago, I went to a class which was a gluten-free sourdough class, and this is what's she called, wild sourdough. And if you go to her website, she has sourdough starters. She has a whole lot of tips and things. This is Yoki, and she has this flour which is milled in Melbourne, all fresh ingredients milled in Melbourne, and it is, let me tell you, oh, hang on, it can be used for everything. And she's got, it's been, okay, it is plant-based, gluten-free, gut and FODMAP friendly real bread. So it ticks all the boxes. It's not cheap, but I've used it in quite a few things now, and it's really it's worked really well. So that's something. I have some of my crackers. I would definitely say cut them. I have a few that have turned out nicely with the roller, but there are quite a lot of them just a bit of a mess. So I would put them not on silicone, just on some baking paper, and actually just use a knife and cut. Well, not the right consistency for the roller, but I have used the rollers many times with other gluten-free recipes, and they're fantastic. We will go to the mix shop in a moment, but the other thing I did today was I made these cookies, and these are, I'll find the recipe and post it in there as well, and we'll definitely send it to you in the email. But these are from Louise Keats', oh goodness me, what's the book called? It's A Whole Food Child. And basically you make the almond milk, and then you use the pulp in these cookies. And it's a different texture. It's again, it's a softer texture because it's got that moisture in it, but they are really delicious. And my husband did confess, I took some to work. He said, I did have to eat one. I had to rearrange them on the plate for you for tonight. So they taste all right. All right, let me find the mix shop for you. All right, so we do have Click Frenzy on at the moment till, as I said, until 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. We can look at bestsellers, but I'm going to just find you the cracker rollers. Cracker rollers. I wonder if let's just see. So they did have, maybe they've run out of some of them, because there was a little set there of the three. So I've got the grissini ones, which aren't there, and the two different shapes. So that blue one that I used, it should come out the sort of rectangular shape. So those are really good. What else have we got? We've got the yogurt jars we've used tonight. So these are the ones that Wendy was using, and they are fantastic. So you don't just have to use them for yogurt. They could be, little custards. I know there's some little cheesecakes in a cup type recipes on Cookie Do as well. It'd be great for that. And chia puddings, all those sorts of things. They're really good. And my absolute favorite is the, I'm just going to put mats in and see if it comes up with the silicone mats. All right, no, I'm going to have silicone mats.
You're talking about the tray liners?
Oh, so thank you.
That's all right. I was reading your mind. We were going in sync.
Okay, good. Oh, some of them are out of stock, but these are fantastic. Just a little word of warning though, if you do order a tray liner and you click on large, you need to make sure it is large there, because there is a drop down menu. And I did this the other day. It was actually with the trays, and I thought I'd ordered a large because I clicked on the large picture and I ordered a small. So you just need to be mindful. There is a drop-down menu on some of these items, but these trays are fantastic. So the tray liners and the tray, you get the trays to match. It just means that you know, again, you know, we're on our little saving the planet thing, but you know, you can reuse and reuse and reuse these. They are just amazing.
And the size, yeah, just Mandy, if you just scroll down lower, just show them that the sizes, the measurements are actually under, I think, under QA. So, sorry. Yep. So
read more.
Yep. No, I think one of the
other dimensions. Here we go.
So just make sure you read the dimensions to make sure they fit your trays if you're just trying to use them for your existing trays. And the other thing I've always said is don't mix your sweet and your savoury because they tend to absorb smells. So if you're going to cook garlic on there, it'll continue to smell like garlic. Just I can't get it out of mine. So just split them up. So split up, you know, keep your ones for your baking and the other ones for your savoury.
So anything else, girls, we should be showing?
Well, I just want to show people about this, you know, the jars. So we're obviously reusing. So unless there's something else you want to show on the mixture.
No. Oh, yes, go on, you show. Yeah. So we're going back to Irene.
Yeah, just really quickly, guys. So I've got my mixture obviously sitting outside to cool down so that we don't stink out the kitchen. I keep my jars like the others. I had a jar of maple syrup. It's empty. It's quite a cute little jar. I'm going to pull the stickers off it. I'm going to sterilize that. So I tend to sterilize everything that I cook will go into a sterile jar, whether I'm making the vegetable stock paste or in this case, I'm making the Worcestershire sauce. So to sterilize, you've got a couple of options. You can steam these in your Varoma basket. So you can actually use steam to sterilize your jars. Obviously remove all your plastic bits. You can use your oven to sterilize glass as well. The other option you have is to use something like this. For anyone who had babies, Milton tablets, you sterilize your nappies. You can actually use this. I did a cheese making class quite a few years ago, and she used the Milton tablets, just follow the instructions, and that's a really good way to sterilize using cold water. So combinations of these, I tend to, if I'm doing them, I do them all in bulk. So I'll remove all the plastic bits. I will use the Milton tablets for all the plastic bits. So I don't end up obviously damaging them either from the oven or from, you know, using boiling water or steaming that heat so they don't damage those. But a good way to reuse your jars. I'm just going to take the stickers off and reuse those. Yeah, so once it's cooled down, I'll tell you exactly how much is left so that you can get an idea of the size of the jar that you need. Thanks.
Fantastic. So thank you, girls, for sharing your. Oh gosh, I've got to get out of that light. Sharing time. I just had to eat a cookie when Irene was talking there, so they're really good. And thank you guys for coming along. As I said, if anyone's interested in joining our team learnings, we do learn so much, and I know some of you are serial offenders, Vicky, Jenny, Edith. Coming on to all our classes, so we obviously like learning. If anyone feels like coming on and joining us, we would love to have you. But thanks for coming tonight, and in a fortnight's time we're going to do family meals for under $10. So I will put that link in the email that I send out as well. Thank you.
Bye.